Do then 3, 2, hold on, 1, go. There we go. Almost forgot to turn the splits on. But we got a short little cutscene introduction, as is customary in a lot of RPG speedruns. I think beginning cutscenes are pretty prevalent in a lot of games just in general, but just a quick forewarning on this speedrun, the game does feature or depict instances of anxiety, depression, and suicide. They're not heavily focused on in the speedrun, in the story they are, but as we go through the game, they're not super focused on and not extremely prevalent. They're short whenever they come up. We've seen 2 children, one looking depressed and the other one trying to make a promise about something, but here we are in white space, where we meet our main character of the game. He's been living in white space for as long as he can remember. If you get introduced to white space, this is an area of the game that looks pretty exciting once it's all fully loaded. Tons of stuff going on. Oops. But you'll notice we talked to 4 things in the room. Depending on which one you talk to last, will determine where the knife drops that we just picked up. So we kind of always talk to the cat last because it just seems like the most fluid way of going about talking to him, because you can only talk to the book and the laptop from in front of it. So it makes sense to go to the right first, but not exactly like important. All that matters is the last thing that you talk to. But we leave white space, we come into this little room here where Omori's 3 friends are. This is Aubrey, is the girl, Hero and Kel left to right. The first thing, it kind of introduces you into the what quests look like, or like side quests. Aubrey asks you to find an item for her. It's the only item in the room, so it's not a super hard quest. Now we can leave, but not before our good old stare snake gives us an allowance of 50 clams. Exit the stump area. Apparently it's in a stump. Don't know why it's in a stump, but this is kind of like the little hub area of the game. We'll return to here a couple times throughout the run. But not just yet. We're gonna go down into because the first area of the game, this is the playground slash the forest area itself. And we'll meet some other characters. A lot of them kind of secondary to any of the story that we'll experience. But 2 that aren't so secondary are the 2 on the blanket here. This is Mary and Basil. And these are basically the 6 main characters of the story. In this little scene, you kind of get an introduction to their personalities and like who they are. Mary and Hero are clearly older, if you're reading the dialogue, more of a guiding kind of characters. Whereas Kel, Basil, Omori, and Aubrey are all around the same age. But a big point of this dialogue is that Basil likes to take pictures, so Kel is like, hey, take a picture of this, but Basil doesn't like to take pictures of planned things. He likes to take pictures of stuff happening in the moment. And he's like, yeah, and they all want to see his photo album, but we don't have time for that. I would suggest looking at it if you're playing casually, though, because just any chance you get to glimpse at the game's art style, highly suggest doing it because it's truly fantastic art for a video game. There's lots of good video game art. This one stands out a bit in my mind. So at the tail end of that conversation, Basil suggests that we go to his house, which is all the way down south. But if we were to try to go there without talking to Burley here, this little lizard-looking character, without talking to her first, we would get stopped. So we just go straight to Burley, initiate this little side quest. Although it's not really a side quest because you have to do it. And before we are allowed to leave, Burley makes us kind of play hide and seek with everybody. So they're gonna draw straws to figure out who's gonna be it for hide and seek. I wonder who it'll be. Couldn't be the main character Omori. That would be too easy, right? Well, you're wrong, it is. So now we get to play hide and seek. It's a pretty quick thing. Everything's fairly obvious once you see what's going on here. Kind of more of a nuisance rather than anything interesting. You have to grab Kel first. You actually can't get away from... Can't progress to the other people if you... Oh, God. This is bad movement. If you don't talk to Kel first. Grab all the friends. It doesn't really matter which order you would grab all of these characters in. All that matters is that you grab them all at some point because you can't actually find Burley until you find all of the kids first. So once you find the last kid, Burley's little hole shows up here. So easy peasy, like I said, more of a formality than anything sort of challenging. But just to make sure we found everybody, we're gonna go through a roll call. One thing that comes to the eye is that there's already like a singular space missing between Omori and Aubrey. I wonder who's missing. We'll probably find out. The beginning of this game's a little dialogue heavy, at least for the first 20 minutes. There's lots of dialogue throughout it, but it's particularly heavy in the beginning here. As is the case, in my opinion, in most just RPG games, there's a lot of exposition to set up the story, the world, tutorials on the combat, and all sorts of stuff. But Basil was the person who's missing. They thought he was up behind this tree, and it appears he's been kidnapped by this character named Boss, who Burley didn't want to show up anyway, and Boss took offense to that, so decided to kidnap Basil during the hide-and-seek game. But this turns into our first introduction of just fighting. So pretty straightforward. We're not going to do anything. The only thing we really can do is attack or use some skills, but there's no point in using any of the skills. We just need to attack Boss until we get him into an angry phase. Nice crit from Kel there. Don't know if it'll actually help us. Good. Nope. So it is possible to not need this third Omori attack to set Boss into the angry phase. You can tell he's angry because, you know, his eyebrows furrowed and there's a red aura around him. That's what happens to me when I get angry. But really all this fight is an introduction onto this mechanic where Omori has basically a second chance in every fight, at least one time, where he won't succumb to mortal damage the first time. But in this version of the game that we're running, there's a couple different versions. We're down patched to an earlier, well, yeah, and it's an earlier version. There's actually a glitch where if Omori were to take mortal damage on a turn, but also get healed before that turn's over, the flag for him not succumbing doesn't get removed, and he can actually never be killed as long as you keep healing him on turns where he takes mortal damage. So it's not really something you can abuse per se. It's something that more happens incidentally. But it could come into play, who knows. But now that we're done hide and seek, we saved Basil, we can finally make our way down to Basil's house. Before we do though, we're gonna make a slight detour at this mailbox and buy 2 jacks for a boss later. We buy 2 jack. Well, you don't have to buy jacks here. You can actually pick them up on the way if you wanted to. I think it's a little faster to just buy them. But we talk to the mailbox regardless of what we're buying, because if you try to run past it, it has like a little cutscene that actually is a little slower than just running over and talking to it. But as we make our way down now, we're going to go through more tutorials. It's going to explain the emotion system, like how each emotion affects the character that it's that has that emotion. So the first one's with an angry sprout mole. Angry ups your attack but lowers your defense. And then after every fight, there's a little like tidbit about more game mechanics. Next fight with a happy sprout mole. Happy increases your luck and speed. Luck increases your crit chance. So nothing to the fights other than the explanations themselves. So far, not the best RNG we could have in the fights. There's a little bit of RNG with how fast the fights end, and so far we've actually gotten the worst RNG possible. But after this fight, they actually go through the emotion triangle and explain how it works. Basically, all you need to know is angry beats sad, sad beats happy, and happy beats angry. So actually, we do a little different in this fight. We actually just use Kel to annoy the enemy, and annoying an enemy makes them angry. Because if you were to leave it sad, that actually slows this. The defense buff it gets actually slows the fight down quite a bit. Now we're gonna do a little skip here for this cutscene. Normally you would have to sit here and watch some dialogue. We're gonna skip that. We're gonna talk to this basket and hold the cancel button. You'll notice the kid's kind of warped away. And when we try to leave, Aubrey will yell at us, but instead of Aubrey moving back, Basil moves back. And for some reason, we're allowed to just continue without seeing that scene. So funny little glitch, saves about 15 seconds. We got one more tutorial battle here with ye old Sprout Mole. Nothing to really do here until a few turns later, so we're just gonna defend. Because it's faster. But we get another funny side effect of the picnic skipping glitch that we just did in a like intermission cutscene here. Double the kids! Nobody knows why, but apparently it just brings in more kids. A little scuffed. But it introduces the energy bar now that's at the bottom of the fight. Every time we get hit, you'll see that number go up on the right. And the amount of energy we have allows us to do these follow-up skills that cost 3 energy every time you use it, except for a special one that OMORI has, which we're about to use, called Release Energy. And it's a super powerful attack that it combines together with enemies, but it's a set amount of damage depending on how far you are into the game. Certain bosses will increase their bond, and all the follow-ups will get stronger, including the Release Energy attack. So we kind of just defended out in that battle until we get enough energy to release it. But an interesting little tidbit about release energy is that you can't use it if one of the party members or any of the party members are KO'd or toast. You noticed in the boss fights when a character loses all their health, they turn to toast, which is pretty funny. I also like that Aubrey's toast has a bow on it. And then we also already, after that fight, there's a third minor glitch that we're allowed to use in this run. It's called fast text in the victory. We call it fast text. And it's in the victory screen. If you were to win a fight using one of the follow-up skills, for some reason, they have a program that the fast text itself inside of the fight will move quicker, but for some reason, if it ends the fight with that move, the fast text doesn't stop, and it allows you to mash through the victory text as well. And it actually kind of speeds it up. If you were to hit every fast text fight that you can hit in the run, you could save almost about a minute of time. So it's a lot of time, but it's hard to plan exactly. But, you know, more exposition here between the characters. You'll notice that almost every little cutscene that involves the four of them, Aubrey and Kel, are bickering about something. But now we're gonna help Basil put those photos back. We always start with the same photo, and it's this flower crown photo, because it's the only one on the front page. So once we go to the other photos, we'll know we're there. We don't have to flip the pages anymore. That's it. We've sorted the photos. You could look at them again if you wanted to, but again, that's not very fast, so we're not gonna do that. Basil notices one more photo is missing, though. This photo's different. And at this point, every time the main character, Omori, experiences some intense emotion, he tries to wake himself up somehow. Because at this point, you kind of realize that this headspace area with Omori, Kel, Aubrey, and all of this like fantastical imagery is actually a dream for a character in the real world who we're about to meet, whose name is Sunny. And then you start to realize that like these little images aren't about the characters in headspace. These are things involving Sunny and Basil in real life. The main character, Sunny. And Sunny kind of is a recluse because of a traumatic incident that happened to him and his family, and he kind of avoids it by going into this dream world that's called Headspace, where he moves around with Omori, who's basically just I don't want to say imaginary, like a doppelganger inside his own conscious. But after every kind of major event in Headspace, we go back to the real world to do some things. This is the first real world segment. The one thing to know about these real world segments is that they're not very interesting. At least in this run, there's some other categories that explore the real world a little more, but the truly fastest way through this game is to ignore most of the game's actual story. Which is just kind of like a choice you can make in the game. It's not, this is a way to play through it. You can play through it another way. But Sunny realizes he's hungry, but won't go down the stairs. It's too dark. So, you know, instead of eating, we're just gonna go back to bed. Why eat when you could just sleep? But the stomach is too much. Too much for Sunny, so he's gonna try it again. But you'll notice everything kind of looks a little different. I don't remember that red glowing window, but I'm sure it's fine. And the stairs are about, you know, quadruple the length, but again, I'm sure it's fine. Recently redecorated with some squiggly hands on the wall, but I'm sure it's fine. Nothing to see here. Just more hands. Don't even worry about it. We're just gonna keep on going. Hey, look. Knives. A knife on the stairs. Again, we're just not gonna talk about it. We're just so hungry. I just need to eat something. Oh, God. Now there's a real hand, but don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But actually, this is kind of like a never-ending loop. And once the shadow hands pull away, the real hand will eventually grab you. So I just kind of stop moving. It doesn't matter if you keep walking or stopping. It's the same amount of time. But this is our first fight with the game calls Something. In the real world, Sunny has these phobias that revolve around the incidents of his childhood. And they manifest themselves as some things. So this first Something fight, there's not much to it. We just attack until the voice comes back again and teaches us how to calm down. Which turns into a skill that we can use. That helps us get past this moment in life. We calm down, realize it's not real, continue on. But I quite like, oh gosh, missed the fridge. I quite like the Somethings. I think it's an interesting take. On, like, a depiction of a phobia. We warm up some steak, some reheated steak to feed us. Not a big leftover guy, personally. You know, it doesn't seem like Sunny is either. Based on the squiggly screen and the oof, it didn't sit well. Yeah, and a funny part about that section is the microwave has a super realistic sound and often is it tricks a lot of people into thinking it's their microwave in their own house. Even when they may not have a microwave. You know, after we kind of, you know, deal with it, we go back to bed. We're gonna go back to Headspace. We're not. That's gonna be the general sequence of events of some kind in the real world. We'll wake up, we'll deal with the Something. Us dealing with the Something in real life allows OMORI to travel to other places in Headspace. Almost like Sunny kind of coming to terms and dealing with his phobias. But every time we come back to Headspace, we get the same dialogue. The welcome to Headspace, you've been living here for as long as you can remember. And we'll always be in here. But this time, we only need to talk to the laptop. And it introduces another story mechanic, the hangman. The hangman game. So throughout the rest of the game, we'll be collecting these keys, these keyboard keys, and playing the hangman game. Now, we'll only be picking up the ones we need. Obviously, we're not going to go out of the way to get the ones we don't need, because that's not fast. But we are required to pick up one singular key that we don't need. But here you go, kind of like a reset. We leave the room and our friends are still here, like nothing ever happened. But even though we're all back here, they do like kind of remember the events, if you want to say that. Of course, they remember the events that happened. This is all in Sunny's head, so none of them exist outside, like in their own entity. They're all just figments in Sunny's brain. But they do remember that they were at Basil's house and that Basil is now missing. So whenever they don't know what to do, a common theme, they'll always come back to Mary. So now the whole thing is like, we don't know where Basil is, what should we do? Hero decides that maybe we should just go back to Basil's house because that's the last place we saw him, so that's what we're gonna do. Here's a smart guy. So nothing special here, we're just gonna run all the way back to Basil's house, but this time we at least don't have to go through the Sprout Mole fights again. So we're just gonna take a nice little jog. Somehow Mary already beat us down here. Something's up with Mary, I guess. She has instant transmission. And apparently Basil had a new roommate, but you know, whatever. Seemed pretty cool. Maybe we'll talk to them later. You know, Basil's not here either, so Aubrey suggests that we go run through the vast forest. So just as quickly as we came, we're running all the way back up. We actually have some new tech, I'll call it, some with the vast forest. We used to just run, we used to just run through the entire forest straight through because it goes in a loop. We actually recently discovered that the only real trigger to move forward is to hit 4 unique screens in the forest. So we actually figured out if you go to the left here to trigger the cutscene, you could go left or right, because like I said, it's a loop. So this is the vast forest to the left, the vast forest to the right. This cutscene will play on either side, but for some reason, the cutscene is almost a full second shorter, even though it's the same exact thing. It's a full second shorter on this side. So we're gonna trigger the cutscene on this scene, but we're actually gonna run back to the other side. This is a funny little cutscene. Again, Kel having shenanigans and Aubrey not wanting to have the shenanigans. But Kel throws out his pet rock to help us look for Basil. Go, Hector, go! Maybe next time. Aubrey just not having it. So like I said, we're not going to run through this way. We're actually going to run back this way. We'll have to dodge some enemies. So this will be our 4th screen transition. Well, you know when you've hit it because you get this particular cutscene. And since we're here, we're just gonna grab the key. But now we're gonna go back left again. We're not gonna run all the way through the right. So normally we would go through the left, how we triggered the cutscene, and continue all the way left until we hit the key from the other side, but we don't do that anymore. Oh, he took a... That's a bummer. He took like an extra step. I guess what he was gonna do is move down anyway. And then he got an extra step in. Just make sure we don't get into any more fights. Luckily, that was a first turn run. At this point in the game, our speed's not super high. So it actually has a chance to fail running, which really just starts to tack on the time. So there's a lot of runners with top times will actually reset if they get an encounter or two with a few failed runs, because it adds up quick. But, you know, we couldn't find Basil in the forest, so what do? We go back to, oops, Mary. And we were supposed to say yes to that, but all we did was just lose some time. No big deal. But Mary, now that we've come back, suggests that we go over here to a really tall ladder that'll take us to a place called the Otherworld. But they may, the other characters are worried Omori is afraid of heights. But since we dealt with the something IRL, we're no longer afraid of heights and we can climb this giant ladder. We're no longer afraid of heights. It's that easy. If you have a fear of heights, all you need to do is go to your stairs in your house and fight them. And when you win, you will no longer be afraid of heights. It's that easy. You know, we were just kind of introduced to Hector, and just as quickly as we met Hector, he falls out of Kel's pocket. There's actually like a kind of a side quest you can do. You can go find Hector later if you want to. There's tons of side content to this game that we won't even begin to scratch the surface of in completing this ending of the game, which is a bad ending, ultimately. Funny little graphic glitch there where Kel kind of walks under a layer of ground. But at the top of the ladder here, now we're in the other world. This is where Mary told us we should come to look for Basil next. We have a couple things we need to do here. Mainly set up, that helps us set up later. And we're actually gonna do the first part. We need to trigger a side quest before we actually continue with the real story. We're gonna run up here. Instead of going to left like we used to right away, now we're gonna go left, but just not right now. We're gonna make a slight detour down to this secret path. And this is gonna take us to an area with a character called TV Girl. And TV Girl's a cool character. I like her. She's gonna give us a quest to find her 3 random items in the junkyard, it says. We haven't gone to the junkyard yet, but if you haven't figured it out, we will be. And we're looking for a strange hit list. We're looking for a whatchamacallit, a doohickey, and a thingamabob, I believe. So we're gonna do this side quest, which is completely out of, not gathering the items, but initiating the side quest and whatnot, and then finishing it. It's kind of completely out of the way, but it's gonna allow us to get an item that, even though we're gonna lose some time to the old route, setting this all up ultimately is gonna save us more time than it loses. But we'll talk more about that when we get there. So back on track with the actual story, we're asking these guys who turn out to be space pirates if they know anything about Basil. And then it tells us about their captain. Captain Space Boy. Captain Space Boyfriend. He's under the weather. So Kel's trying to wake him up by jumping on the bed. But it must be memory foam because it doesn't even phase him. Yeah, a commercial where they're like, hey, look at this mattress, and you can jump on it and have a glass of wine in the corner that won't fall over, because that's what everybody does with their bed. They had the one corner for wine and then the other corner for jumping. But anyway, this space pirate, who I assuming is the same space pirate from outside, they all have the same sprites, so it's hard to tell if they're a different space pirate or whatnot. But this one comes up and tells us that Space Boyfriend isn't sick, and Space Boyfriend's actually lovesick. And Kel doesn't seem to care. You know, the space pirate asks us if we could go to the junkyard and try to search for a special mixtape that always cheers Space Boyfriend up. And Kel doesn't want to do it, but we're gonna do it because we have to. You know, we get this cool little bridge scene with all the planets. Except one conveniently muscular looking planet that's missing. I'm sure that won't turn up later or anything. These two space pirates are looking for the missing planet. Now we enter the junkyard, kind of like the first real dungeon-y area of the game. The vast forest is kind of like your introduction. There's enemies, but pretty tame area in general. There's like a lot more going on in this place. So we'll be making detours throughout the whole thing. Really, the only things we're going to be picking up in here are healing items, rubber bands, and items to sell. We picked up a gold watch just then that we're really just selling so we can buy more rubber bands, because we use them for a strat against the first real boss. Oh my god, I've actually never seen that guy there before. Ah! Slight detail to grab one of the side quest items. This is the thingamabob. And now we get introduced to like the game's last kind of mechanic, the tag mechanic, where we can change to different, we can change what kids up are leading the party, and depending on who's in front, they have a little ability they can do. And there's a slight little like animation, not a skip, but you can use the animation to open the tag menu and tag to the next person you need, but only for Omori and Aubrey, because they have similar animations. So Aubrey likes to smash things, and Hero's ability is that he's charming. I don't know what that says about Sunny and how he depicts Hero in real life. But we'll use Hero's charm skill quite a bit. Nice little conveyor belt ride. Give you a quick like 20-ish seconds. Maybe not quite 20, but clear your mind a bit. Get ready for the rest of Junkyard. We need Omori, so we'll just switch to him now. Not even have to think about it. So again, we're just traversing the Junkyard here. We're gonna grab some more items. Here's a life jam. Life jam is like the game's revive item. Because when people are toast, all you need to do is to revive them is just put some jam on it. Put your jam on your toast. Hopefully we don't ever need to use those, but we do grab them as kind of a backup. And then last but not least, we get introduced to Kel's skill here, which is, strangely enough, he just stands on platforms to throw items at things. I don't know why he couldn't just do it from right in front, but he couldn't. Need Omori again to grab another rubber band here. Forgot to switch to Hero in the animation. No big deal. Grab a poetry book that we could use later. Hopefully we don't really need it. More healing items, more rubber bands, and we're actually gonna make a little detour up here to grab another thing of jack. Normally we would only go into the boss fight where we're using the jacks with 2, but we're gonna grab a 3rd one because it'll help with safety a little bit. Slight detour for the doohickey. Don't forget the doohickey. Another rubber band and a hot dog. We're amassing quite an inventory of random food items and rubber bands. And doohickeys, thingamabobs, and whatchamacallits. But this scene's kind of interesting. This is another one of Hero's abilities. And just in case there's giant cheese wheels in the way, he has a special little hamster named Ems that can eat the cheese wheel. And you would think with a scene so crazy like this that this would be a thing that happens often in some way or another throughout the game, but it doesn't. This is the only time we're ever going to see Ems throughout the run. And to my knowledge, Ems only comes back one other time in optional areas. So why having such a ridiculous cutscene for something that really plays such a minor part? I don't know, but it is what it is, I guess. Oop. A nice thing about this game is you can, to get through the dialogue, you can just hold a button down. I started holding the button a little too early. Although, we do know that if you can hit a certain matching speed that's pretty fast, you can actually make the text boxes go a little faster, because RPG Maker. Again, I hit circle too soon. So this little sprout mole found the mixtape just now, so we're chasing her to try and get it. Oops. I actually did a little glitch there. It threw me off a little bit. Where you can menu characters like items into another character. We're good, right? Yeah. Just wanted to check. Well, we'll get to the game's first sub-boss here. There's the 404 TVs here. Or the TVs kind of put into a 404 pattern. And this is where the game sense of humor comes in a little bit. But this boss fight's extremely scripted. We're just gonna start with OMORI using an air horn, because he's the fastest party member. And we're gonna up all of our attacks for this boss. This boss only attacks every 4th turn. And it's an explosion attack that does 80% of your max health. So it'll never actually kill anybody as long as they're at full health. Yo, hey Blank, thanks for the good luck. So we're just gonna attack it away. And here's the crash and burn song. This boss fight also has like one of the best boss themes in the game for no real good reason. But it's an awesome song. It's one of my favorites. So we're just attacking away, and we're gonna try our best to end the fight on a follow-up so we can get the fast text when it's over. Try Hero's follow-up with OMORI. Maybe it'll work. Nope. Probably just short. Wow, really short actually. We weren't even close. So we're done the fight. We steal the mixtape from this sprout mole whose name is Rosa. Before Rosa snaps out of it. They kind of have like a little bit of an argument, and Kel insults her, and Rosa vows that she'll pay us back somehow. We're not gonna worry about that though. I'll do it for us in the junkyard segment. All we have to do is grab this little watermelon right here, and we'll be on our way. Gotta watch out for the wormhole, which is literally a worm sticking out of a hole. Like a black hole. Pretty funny. Those enemies are kind of nasty though, because they almost always just spend their turn summoning more enemies. And they're really fast, so they're hard to run away from, even at that point, now that we have some levels. And yeah, this is for a marathon submission, but it's not super serious, so no worries. We're just talking it out and having a good time, I guess. But we get introduced to a character here. His name is Pluto, the muscular rogue planet. And he thanks us for hiding him by turning into the game's fast travel mechanic. Pluto's an amazing character, one of my personal favorites. Just talking about how he doesn't want to be captured and he wants to be a rogue-free planet to open his own delivery or traveling service. And he gets super pumped when we want to take him up on his offer. Yeah, this is exactly how we all look once we're at the gym one time. What's nice about Pluto is you'll notice that Kel was kind of hanging off, and they kind of poke fun at that, where Pluto's impressed with Kel's ability to hang on for dear life, so he teaches him how to flex, which actually is going to turn into an extremely important skill for this run. We're going to eat up at the picnic to heal. Switch to hero, and we're going to do some shopping. So first, we're going to sell this gold watch. Sell a ramen. Then we're going to go back into the mailbox. We're going to buy a sparkler and as many rubber bands as we can. Now we're going to go up to do the game's first boss fight. This is one of the more reset heavy boss fights, just because of the strat we use. But hopefully we can get a good one here. So we're gonna start off the fight by using 2 of our jacks. This will lower Space Boyfriend's speed. And then we're gonna use Aubrey's emotion skill, which is Pep Talk, to make Kel happy. Because at some point, Space Boyfriend here is gonna become angry. Sorry, let's just get through this menu. He'll become angry, and angry attacks do less damage to happy people. So we're gonna use it to pep talk Omori and Aubrey, or Omori and Kel, just for protection for now. Also, being happy allows your speed to be increased, and with the jacks that we use, it actually makes it so Kel and Omori are faster than Space Boyfriend, so we can heal his attacks. See, now he's angry. Just making sure we don't do anything silly. He's not attacking. We need him to also attack, because part of the strat for this fight is to get to 10 energy. So we're gonna blow through our rubber bands while healing up. And we might as well use our last jack while we're at it. Really doesn't like hero today, but that's fine. So we're kind of just waiting for nice whiff, bud. We have one more rubber band. We'll use that, and then we're gonna start defending with everybody, because now all we're waiting for is for Space Boyfriend to get us to 10 energy, which you could do by wailing, or you could do nothing. We're gonna force the issue here, I think. See if we can put him in furious state, because it opens up another ability. Actually, let's do... Hopefully Omori's still faster. Nice. Do the laser. Oh, he's just kicking people. He's just kicking, which is bad. I might have only healed Kel, which is not the best thing in the world. Well, preemptively. Come on, 10 energy. He did it. So now that we got our 10 energy, we can do our release. And another thing about being in the advantageous emotion versus in a fight, it'll actually make the release damage do more damage. So instead of 300, it actually did 450. which at this point we know is enough to end the fight. So not too bad. Space Boyfriend wasn't as aggressive as we usually like him to be. You know, maybe that was a good thing for the marathon run. He didn't kill anybody, and that's good. So now we get a little, he kind of snaps out of it, he comes back to reality and realizes he's being ridiculous because he's mad at us because he was dumped by his girlfriend's sweetheart. And that's why he was fighting us, like we did anything, but he kind of snaps out of it, realizes he's being ridiculous, realizes he doesn't even care that Pluto's missing, yada yada. Happy ending. All is right with the world. But he gives us a snow cone ticket and a train ticket, 2 things we'll never actually use in this run. But now we get to do, after this little bit of dialogue that's remaining, we get to do the setup for basically the rest of the run. Even though we won't use the strats for setting up for probably about almost another hour, probably a little less at this point. We're gonna do the setup for it, and it's kind of fun and kind of annoying all at the same time. So they also, the whole point they're talking to him, they're asking about Basil as they're looking for Basil. He doesn't, but Captain Space Boyfriend doesn't know, or Captain Space Boy now doesn't know anything about it. And then conveniently, one of the keys we need spawns. And I don't know if you saw that exactly, but after certain bosses in the game, the follow-ups, I mentioned it earlier, will actually get stronger. Space Boy is one of the first bosses that'll increase that bond. Now we have to go back to TV Girl to kind of turn in the quest we did. And turning in this quest allows us to have access to the coffee machine that she's currently using, which gives us access to coffees. And coffee has just recently become a super important item in the speedrun, at least the non-glitched speedrun, because of a skill that Kel has that we actually don't have yet, but it turns Kel's attack value, and the skill bases it on his speed value instead. And what coffees does is it increases somebody's speed by 500%. And now we're just gonna try to get a bunch of coffees. But for us to get a new coffee, we have to transition in and out of this place 20 times. So we're about to do this 80 times. So apologies for the music changes, but we're gonna be doing this for a few minutes. So we should be able to grab another one. So I'm gonna do my best to count right now so we don't do this over and over again. So I'll probably be quiet for 2 minutes. And we'll talk more about the coffee strats. Nine, I think 9, I hope 10. Alright, so we should be able to grab another one. And we're gonna do this 3 more times. Four. So you know you did it right if you get the coffee, but it'll say something like, coffee will be ready after this commercial break or something. So if you didn't do enough transitions, you'll know. 3. And it was actually just recently figured out that this is how we can get the coffee, because we knew we could get one, but we just recently figured out how we could get multiples of coffee, and it kind of blew the doors off of all the boss strats for latter parts of the game. I lost count. So we're gonna say that's 7, 8. All right, I think that's 5. We're gonna just take a second to double check, make sure we have enough. We need 5 coffees. A pocket, snacks. Wow, we have 6 coffees. So that's why it's taking a little longer. Oh well, now we have a backup. Just in case. No big deal. We only needed 5, we have 6. Which may be a good thing, because like I said, it's for a backup. But getting each coffee takes about 30 seconds. You know, we went through all this trouble, and now we are kind of not sure what to do anymore, so we go see Mary. Kel wants to show off his new flex skill. Mary's like, cool. Cool, Kel. Thanks, bruh. Extra swole. But we go to leave, and we notice that there was a shadow basil kind of waiting for us. And after we go chase him, mysteriously all of the other kids are missing now. But we're still gonna keep chasing this shadow basil. I'm sure lots of good things will happen if we do. We go up these long stairs that are for some reason inside of like a picture, and we have to grab the only key in the game that we don't actually need. Conveniently labeled the F key, which makes me feel like they did it on purpose. We talk to that sheet, and then a something chases us, but it's faster to just get caught by the something because you can't escape. And now Omori, facing intense moments inside of the dream world, tries to wake himself up again. But so far, so good. We got our coffee. We got 3 space boyfriends. Like I was saying, space boyfriends, one of the more volatile bosses that we fight. The fight could either go really well or it could take a while. That was kind of somewhere in the middle. Now we're going to be back in the real world, and we'll see what crazy things Sunny's up to. Something behind you. That can't be good. We got 3 days left. So when we wake up, we're gonna leave. We notice that there's a knock on the door, so let's go see who that is. I wonder who that could be. Apparently it's Cal, but in the real world. And he wants to hang out with us, but unfortunately we don't really have time for that because we need to go take a nap. So it's gonna ask us what we want to do. We could either open the door or not open the door. We're not gonna open the door. Sorry, Kel, we don't have the time. We have to go take a nap, like desperately. We just woke up, but we need more nap. You know, we can't sleep forever, right? So we're gonna wake up this time, but instead of going out and hanging out with our friends, we're gonna sweep the whole place. It's gonna be way fun, trust me. It's a really exciting segment. So now we have about 2 minutes of sweeping little dust piles. This is peak content. Why hang out with your friends when you can sweep the floor? So we really just have to kind of go into every room of the house, sweep up all the little dust piles before this could be over. This is like every runner's favorite part, the IRL chores segments. I know it's mine. Just trying to focus on the movement here just so I don't extend this any longer than it needs to be. But well, there we go. Overstep one. We're getting there. Got one more room after this one. Hello? It's kind of odd because I think the game favors movement inputs over like button inputs. But that's it, we're done. But unfortunately, Omori starts to feel a little dizzy once he's done his very exciting day of sweeping every single room in the house. And he passes out. But, you know, once we wake up, everything will be fine. We'll just head upstairs. We'll go back to bed. It's cool. Or, you know, the entire house will be covered in spiders and spider webs. Could have happened to anyone. Hey, Star, thanks for the good luck. Now we're going to traverse these stairs, and we're going to listen for some sound cues here, because we can skip some animations that actually end up wasting a good bit of time if we don't get the skips. But first thing we're looking for is for Sunny to stop moving and like a scuttle noise. There it is. So now we know the first pile on the left here has a spider leg. This one... Getting hit by these spider legs actually slows you down quite a bit because Sunny gets knocked backwards like a step, but when he tries to walk forward again, he also kind of like has a little panic attack on the stairs because, I mean, he's getting smacked by huge spider legs from inside his walls. So he's kind of having like a little meltdown. But we're too strong for it. We know what's coming. So we dodge them. It's a nice little time save in a segment that really doesn't have much RNG at all. Finding something like that is a pretty significant time save. Because we used to just kind of walk up the stairs and get wailed on by the spider legs and not think twice about it. Until somebody was like, hey, I wonder if you could skip these. And you can. And it's not even hard. It's almost like it was intended if you knew. And now we got our second something fight with a giant spider something. Same deal as the other one. We're just kind of waiting for dialogue, but first thing we do, we're gonna get a dialogue that's not this first dialogue cue, and we're gonna use the calm down skill. because we're about to learn a second skill, but for Sunny to use that skill and it be effective, we have to use calm down first. So we're just prepping for that moment, which is right now. Sunny's gonna listen to the voice in his head and learn the ability to focus. He's gonna calm down and he's gonna focus and he's gonna overcome the spider something, like a champion. And it turns out that the spider, it was just a little spider on top of the stairs. If y'all didn't notice, that was in fact like a ghostly image outline in the first scene of the bed of him going to sleep. It's kind of at this point that you realize that Mary, who is Sunny's sister in real life, is no longer with them. She passed away. Why, we're not sure yet in the story, but this is one of the major incidents. Her passing away is what is causing Sunny a lot of stress. You know, just as we do, we go back to bed and welcome to White Space. We've been living here for as long as we can remember. Yo, Alex, thanks for the good luck. So back in White Space, we actually don't need to talk to anything this time. You talk to significantly less stuff as you go throughout the run. Every time you come back here, you do less and less in White Space. You talk to all four the first time, just the laptop the second time, and now on the third time we just get to leave. And then, funny enough, when we come back here a fourth time, spoiler alert, we don't do anything. We just leave. It puts us in this room automatically. But now we're back, we meet our friends, and like, we need to keep looking for Basil. Rally the troops. But Aubrey's like, you know what, why don't me and OMORI just go look together? And Kel and Hiro are just like, what are you talking about? We need to do it together. So we're gonna do it together. Not before we get another allowance. So, you know, we want to look for Basil, but we don't know what to do. So what do we do when we're lost? We go see Mary. And then they come to the conclusion that the forest that's full of spiders should be our next destination, but Hiro doesn't like spiders. He's afraid of spiders. But before we go there, we need to make a slight detour to the mailbox that we bought the Jacks from earlier to buy presents. We're just gonna buy 9 presents. And this is all still in preparation for later. Trying to get to the forest, we run into more sprout moles because sure, why not? But we have a pretty quick and effective way to deal with them. Not only does TV Girl give us coffee, but she actually gives us dynamite, which is a group attack item that does 150 damage. So we just use it with Kel because he goes first. 150 damage, say see you later to the sprout moles, and be on our way. So TV Girl's kind of a boss. She helps us out big time. Having the dynamite for that fight saves about, I don't know, maybe 10 seconds over the regular way of doing it. So it kind of compensates for the fact that we need to go down and buy those presents. So aside from the characters having their own emotion changing skills, there's items that also do it. And the present is the item that makes people angry because it's a present that they didn't want. That's the description. It's like a present, but they didn't want it or something like that. It's pretty funny. This is Firefly Forest, the next dungeony area, kind of similar to the junkyard in progression. I'm actually gonna grab this item for safety. Just another single heal item. After Space Boyfriend, the single healing items kind of drop off substantially in usefulness, but sometimes the next sub-boss we're about to fight could be quite a pain, and having some backup healing isn't gonna hurt us. Dang. If you're fast enough, you can actually skip those spiders from grabbing you. It's not much of a time save, especially when you're that close. Yo, what's up, Hasselhoff? So if you're quick, you can skip this one too. See if we can at least get one of them. Oh, no way. Yeah, I got caught up. If you ding for like a second too long, you kind of get caught up. No worries. It's just, it's like a tiny time save if you can get through them. So this one you can't actually skip. Grab an item. We're gonna do a quick menu here. Put the cat ears. Mark. And then we want to get rid of this for now. And I believe that I'm just gonna get rid of that just in case. I believe that's it. So we did a menu there with their skills to set up current skills that we've gotten so far, and then we set up open slots on some of them for skills that we'll get later. We make another slight detour to grab another present. So now we have 10 presents that nobody wanted. Feels bad. After we complete the tracks, we can ride the cart out of the forest. It's that easy. Spiders be darned. So even though we got those copies, we're still not ready to use them. We save them for specific bosses going forward. Luckily, Mary's here to help us out. Console us after going through the very scary spider forest. Not a long cutscene, though. We're on our way. We're gonna go all the way up here and fight another sort of sub-boss. So in this fight, a skill that OMORI unlocked after Space Boyfriend is kind of important. It's called Mock, and what it does is it reduces angry enemies' attack by 30%, which is pretty significant. It's a lot. So we're going to use that to kind of nullify some of the enemy's attacks here. So he's going to use Mock. She's going to use a present, and Kel's gonna use a sparkler on Omori. Hero is gonna popcorn in anticipation of participation. So here comes the mock. Lower King Crawler's attacks. So not kind of what we wanted to see. But we're gonna start guarding. Because as is with Space Boyfriend, we're waiting for King Crawler to get us to 10 energy. So there's a charge. We're looking for charge forwards. Those are good attacks. So really what we're gonna do now, to be on the safer side, I'm gonna heal with Omori. Actually, yeah, let's heal with Omori. Rise. Guard. And then we make King Crawler angry again, because if King Crawler's angry, it makes him more likely to charge forward. So we got it. We get to end the fight next turn. Good fight. Well, okay fight. Because King Crawler has about 730 health, and now that we have the increased bond that powered up our follow-ups from Space Boyfriend, an advantageous follow-up release energy will do 900 damage, so plenty of damage to kill him. So ideally, how the fight will work is King Crawler will charge forward 2 times in a row, and on the 3rd turn you can do the release attack with Omori and just win the fight. The chances of that happening aren't impossible, but they're pretty low. I think the chance of getting 2 charge forwards in a row is about 17%, almost 18%. So it's not impossible, but it's also not very likely. But now that King Crawler's out of the way, we get access to the Sprout Mole Village. And we can use the tickets to the show that the 4 Sprout Moles we fought in the forest earlier, they dropped some tickets for us. We get to use them here. And this Sprout Mole's super pumped because they're like front row seats that are super cool. And we are just so excited. I can't explain to you how excited I am to be in the front row. You know, this scene is actually a little long, a long cutscene. Sprout Mole Mike here. This is like, I don't know why he's wearing glasses and has a mohawk, but he is. They have an in memoriam for ye old Sprout Mole, who we took down earlier. The gang remains unfazed in the crowd. We know now it's time for the show. Sweetheart's Quest for Hearts, which is funny. It's like a little dating show where they introduce contestants and everything. So this is actually a pretty humorous cutscene. It's a little long in the speedrun, and it happens twice, but, because you'll see. But what am I saying? This will probably go completely uninterrupted. I'm sure there won't be 2 cutscenes like I just said, and we'll just get through the show. There's Snaily, the character who was punted by Pluto earlier. There's poor old Snaily. Just kind of gets beat up wherever he goes. He gets electrocuted. Again, everyone just kind of unfazed. I mean, they're worried about the power outage, but they aren't worried about Snaily just being, you know, vaporized. That's okay. We're gonna go fix the power for him. We know exactly what to do. Quick heal. We make our way all the way to the bottom of Sprout Mole Village. We got a bunch of Sprout Moles with headbands running on treadmills. This is apparently how they power the entire village. But none of them decided to turn around and notice that the giant plug was unplugged. But we've done it! It's bright again. We've turned all the lights back on. We're not talking to anybody. We don't want to talk to any of these weird Sprout Moles. We just need to get back to the show. Showtime. Mustache Mole, kind of familiar looking, but not quite familiar looking at the same time. It says they're looking for a new contestant, and a Mustache Mole picks Hero. So now we get to watch the dating show and see how it goes with Hero as one of the contestants. Good old Sprout Mole Mike at it again. I already have an in memoriam for Snaily. Contestant number 3. Now we fix the power, we get to actually see the real show. And get introduced to another character of the story, Sweetheart. Who is definitely not annoying. Hero looks very excited to be on stage. The Sweetheart's quest for hearts is really just a show where these Sprout Moles try to win her affection. Definitely not annoying. Oh, and then the character she doesn't like, or the contestant she doesn't like, get thrown in the dungeon. High stakes dating contest for these Sprout Moles. Okay, she just looks at that one and just says its very being offends her. Now it's Hero's turn. Definitely not gonna end up getting us put in the dungeon, no way. But it turns out she's actually quite taken by Hero, and does pick him to win the contest, but you know, Hero doesn't actually want to do it. So he's asking us for help. And Aubrey suggests that he rejects her. So I'm sure that's gonna go well. Again, no dungeon time for us. Hero's gonna say, you know, I don't want to win the contest, and she's gonna take it extremely well. So they're gonna throw Hero in the dungeon. And then we kind of intervene or yell out and then get us thrown in the dungeon as well. They like using that laugh for people who are annoying. But it turns out Mustache Mole was really just Rosa trying to play a trick on us. And then they make a joke like, we're locked in here, but they wouldn't leave the door open, would they? But they would. Nice. Skipped that guard. Now, this is one of the weirder parts of the game to me. For some reason, They don't have any indication that you should come down here other than it's blocked off, but you need to come down here to get Mary's attention. But like, I don't know, for me casually, going the wrong way, I didn't even realize that that was something you could do because it just looked like a blocked off area that I couldn't get to yet. So I was roaming around here for like 20 minutes and then I just ran down to the spikes at one point. I was like, oh, okay, here's a cutscene. Because like up to this point, there's no indication that Mary will ever like bail you out of a situation like that. And I was just like, there's a ladder next door. I wonder how I get to it. Nice. So if you time it right, you can even just run past them without ever drawing their aggro at all. So we push this button and for some reason it explodes that sprout mole. So we can get to that button. No idea why, but at least it's out of the way. So just like that, we're out of the dungeon. We're not exactly done with the area yet, because now we get to go into Sweetheart's Castle. So this section's kind of long. This is one of the longer, like, single things you'll do, like the dungeon, Sweetheart's Castle kind of segment. I do always like that sparkly sign that's the dungeon. Like it's some great thing. So the Sprout Mole guard is like, hey, you guys don't look like Sprout Moles, and then we put these masks on that we also got from that 4 Sprout Mole fight. And and then they're tricked. They think we're Sprout Moles. So it's that easy. But the gimmick of this area is there's 4 corners, and in every corner there's like something to do, some little event to do that'll progress the triggers forward. But before we get to any of that, we're gonna grab a key. Oops. So in our first corner here, see a long line of Sprout Moles. Wonder what we're gonna have to do. Okay, he does have charm. Right. I just wanted to make sure that Hero had a skill that we use a little bit. But we need to tag to him anyway. So what this guy wants us to do is he wants us to go through the line, or go through the entire area, and pluck out all of the Sprout Moles that aren't wearing pink, because they're not allowed into the show. Because that's what we're going to do. We use Hero's charm ability to make them follow us. As you can see, he's very charming. He does the little, like, hand thing, like, I'm cool. And they're like, yeah, you are cool. Talking to the wrong ones is bad. I actually don't know what happens if you take one of the pink ones. I don't know if it's possible. But we're not gonna find out. That should be the last one. Go talk to this guy. Now we're done with that area, but before we do leave, we're gonna make a slight little detour and grab this item, which is a book. And it makes the wearer, whoever is the wearer, what am I doing? Gain extra experience. And we're gonna put it on Kel for the next 2 fights we're gonna do. So he can hopefully grab some more experience. And I ran right into him. It's okay. At this point, we're pretty fast. Most things we'll run into, we can get a first turn run. Sometimes with the guards, you get a little unlucky, but should be fast enough. So once we do the first task in the first corner here, we get into a fight with Sir Maximus. He sees through our clever disguises. So we're gonna do the same kind of strat we did for Sir Maximus, but we're gonna mock. To lower his attack. Use it again. And we'll... So we should be okay. Yo, Jack, thanks for the raid. I super appreciate that. We're doing a marathon submission run, so we're just talking out some strats, doing a no reset. So the sort of gimmicky thing about this fight is that once we get Sir Max to a certain point, he's going to do this ultimate attack. Should be fine. And this ultimate attack is a spin attack that hits every single person. So here it is, his ultimate attack. We're hoping he doesn't kill Kel. Aubrey and Hero are kind of neutral. Oh, okay. Unfortunately, Aubrey didn't get the experience. Not the end of the world. Can't save them all. All we're really concerned about is that Kel makes it through these fights, although it does make situations a little dicey going forward for one boss battle if Aubrey isn't at a good level. But we kind of have a little backup for it, just in case. Oops. We'll get a quick rest at the bed here. Aubrey gets an item out of it. She gets an attack item, the body pillow, but we're not going to equip that because we don't really need it. So all we have to do in this area is have Aubrey break this statue because they want to get rid of the space boyfriend statue since they're not together anymore. And Aubrey is so swole that she breaks it without ever even swinging. But I find it funny that they couldn't do anything about this statue, but this Sprout Mole is able to lug in a new sweetheart statue, no problem. Like, why did we have to break the other one? Why couldn't you just carry that one? I don't know, I'm not a doctor. Whoa, almost ran right into him. So this section's fun, if you want to say that. We get to make a cake. But the gimmick of this part is we're gonna make a cake, but the chef Sprout Mole, or sous chef Mole, is going to give us the wrong directions, but luckily we know how to do it the right way. So literally everything this Sproutmole is going to tell us is wrong. We're just not going to listen. Like, we're getting flowers and ping pong balls, which is flour and eggs. So luckily, if you know what to do... Well, if you screw up the cake, there's nothing you can do. You have to make a second cake. But if you know how to make it the first time, even with the wrong directions, you only have to make one cake. And making 2 cakes is kind of a significant time loss. So we don't want to do that, but we're in good shape. You can tell you've screwed up part of the ingredients when the bowl, instead of looking like regular mix-ins, will look like a black poison fog or something. Grab that item down there. It's just an attack item for Kel. We're gonna do some equipping with the stuff we just got. What do we do? Sorry, I just kind of derped out a little bit there. But for some reason, the second corner you don't actually have to fight a Sir Maximus. But in the third one and the fourth one, you do. So now we're fighting Sir Max 2, who's just a stronger version of Sir Max 1. So we'll follow the same general strat. Doing our best to protect Kel, and hopefully Aubrey this time. Attacking OMORI, not a big deal. I'm just gonna keep preemptively healing Kel. Maybe I should heal OMORI. See, at this point, OMORI has learned a skill called Hack Away, which is probably, in the run, OMORI's best skill. This is kind of fine. He's just wailing on OMORI a bit. Well, I should have charmed, maybe. So here we've gotten to Sir Max 2's threshold. Bummer. We should be able to salvage this. Aubrey should do plenty of damage, yeah, there we go. So Kel was alive to get the experience, that's all we really need. And if we feel like we're in trouble, we can buy more life gems later. We only have one, so it might behoove us to pick up some more. But now we're at the part of the run where we start to use the coffee strats. So we did that prep like we did that prep like 40 minutes ago to start using it on bosses going forward. So we're gonna have to do another little menu here just to set up some skills. Well, first we gotta tag Kel, but Let's do skills. Rebound. We need that for later. I'll get rid of that. And then we'll be fine. All right. Meant to tag Cal. Oh, we also have to do one more important menu that I just forgot, but we'll do it. So this is a fun section. We're gonna help this concert of sprout moles be better singers or something. I don't know. We're gonna throw tomatoes at them. Kel knows exactly how to help. And his way of helping is by throwing tomatoes. So this is pretty funny. You don't actually have to do anything. So what the problem is when the sprout moles are singing, the singing puts them to sleep. But all you really need to do for this to get the best outcome that you can is to make sure they're all awake when the song's over, I think. But we don't want to do that either. So we're just going to wake up a few of them so we get like some dialogue, speedier dialogue. With the fast text, it doesn't even really matter that much. We're gonna change that in a second, but we're gonna put the cat ears on Kel to increase his speed. And we're gonna give Aubrey the book just to help her out with some levels because she's a little short. Okay. And what we're gonna do, come down here. And we're gonna heal up real quick. Alright, should be good enough. Stop doing that. I was trying to keep kind of cancel out of the menu, but I kept hitting B. Alright, so now we're gonna do coffee strats. Basically, every fight from here on out is going to work the same way with the exception of one boss. And we'll kind of talk it out as we're going. So this is Surmax 3, the last Surmax that we have to fight. What we're going to do is we're going to use the coffee on Kel. We're going to pep talk Kel to increase his speed. The coffee is going to increase his speed. We're going to flex with Kel because that's going to increase his hit chance and his attack. And hope that Surmax doesn't hit him. Great. And then we're going to use run and gun. And now that his speed is pumped way up, shoot. We're gonna do a lot of damage. He's alive. Actually, him flexing is a good. He shouldn't kill anyone. Oh, he killed Kel. Wow, that's a bummer. Because he flexed. But he's dead. We one-shot him. So coffee strong. Unfortunately, Kel met his end, which kind of stinks, but it's not the end of the world. There's almost nothing you can do about it. You just kind of have to hope that the range doesn't... I think he does damage in a range and hope it's not enough to kill Kel for experience. But we saw it on display already, the power of coffee strats. Nobody in the game, in any of the fights, in any single move, has done 1,000 damage. Collectively. But we just did it with one move from Kel. So the power of the coffee strats is something else. But we're not quite done with Sweetheart's Castle yet. We got one more area to go through, and that's the hedge maze garden. So the whole gimmick behind this area is that we need a password to go forward, but we can't get the password until we know... Oof, that was close. We can't get the password until we know we need a password, unfortunately. So we had to go talk to that statue and have it zap us. But now we can go to the four corners here and get the statue, or get the password to let us, the statue let us through. But we also now have the ability with Kel's throw ability to aim, add a little more dimension. But the arrow movement is probably one of the wackiest things in this game. I don't know what the rationale for the way it moves, or why it moves the way it does, but it is very sporadic sometimes. So now we need to just talk to these sprout moles. Some of them need, like, we need to give them an item. Some of them will just tell us the password, like this one. Others, you just need to remind them of an item. It's all a mess. Basically, just by playing the game, we have everything we need to get through here. So that one kind of just like inadvertently tells us the password. And based on like the timing of everything in here, we kind of know where all of these enemies will be. Like the guards that are kind of just patrolling around, we know where they'll be. And know we can make kind of like a cycle, or whether or not we can get past them at certain points. That's kind of why we do go the direction we do in here. This one's not as bad. This guy wants to tell us the password, but we have the pinky promise that we won't rat him out. So we pinky promise we get the password. Or his piece of the password. So one more piece is needed. Oop. Getting caught on the walls a little bit. All right, that's our last password. Done with the hedge maze. We just need to go use the password. Then we get to go to our next boss battle. Against the final boss of the area. Wonder who it could be. Gotta switch back to OMORI, because there's a bunch of jars of pickles that we can heal with in here, but Kel won't eat them, so we have to switch to OMORI. So now we're ready for the boss battle. It is, if you haven't guessed, with Sweetheart. So the strat's going to be essentially the same, with a little twist for Sweetheart, because she changes her own emotion after certain parts of the fight. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to coffee Kel with OMORI. We're going to pep talk Kel with Aubrey. Kel is going to flex again, and Hero is going to use a present on Sweetheart. So this is kind of scary. We're still gonna get the damage off, but we might lose some people here. All right, so now that we're prepped for run and gun, We're gonna prep, run and gun. Kel will get his attack off. Maybe we should charm. So Hero's charm attack, nice damage, will attract Sweetheart's attention, but only if she's not doing a multi. So good. This actually was best case scenario already. So we healed up with Aubrey. We went sad for protection against being happy. We're gonna attack here. Attack. He's gonna flex. And he's gonna charm again. We're gonna see if we can keep getting her attention. Nice. So now we got a release with the OMORI. Her unusually aggressive tactics is actually gonna probably pay off in our favor pretty big here. So as long as she doesn't kill Kel, the fight's over. Oh, she can't, because she already attacked. But just in case, we'll prep a bunch of backup attacks and charm. But Kel's gonna attack here and the fight's gonna be over, I believe. Nice. Yeah, that was really good. It was a little scary, but as far as Sweetheart fights go, that was pretty solid. That is a real gold. But anyway, just the fight in general was bad in the PV that we're comparing against. But again, we win the fight with Sweetheart, and just like Space Boyfriend, who coincidentally is just showing up, she chills out, Space Boyfriend comes to sweep her off her feet and propose. They're gonna get married, and it's gonna be the best. They're gonna be so happy together. But I think in the fight I'm comparing against, Kel died after using run and gun the first time. But I guess double insult is probably one of the best things she can do. Sprout Mole Mike, here to send him off. What a touching moment. All the while, we got some guards on the right, we're on the left, we're just enjoying the moment. And Sweetheart's like, this show stinks, I'm gonna blow my stage up. So I want to check Kel's level real quick right when we come here. We're set up for everything going forward, but I want to check. Also, Sweetheart is another like qualifier fight to lift our bond skill higher. It's actually at the highest they'll be. They're at level 3 skills. We try to leave, but we get a little vision of Shadow Basil jumping into the hole on stage. So, you know, like every rational thinking person, they're gonna go investigate. He's only 14. All right, we're gonna have to do backup. We're gonna have to do a backup later, but it's kind of already planned in. So we actually have an extra coffee, and I'm wondering if I should just use it. Or save it in case something goes wrong on harder enemies. Because we know we have a way through this upcoming fight, the next boss battle. Which isn't for a bit still. We're gonna land in the Lost Library here, where if you were so inclined, you can walk around and read some books in the Lost Library and get some more knowledge of the lore. We're not gonna do any of that. Lore is for people who aren't trying to go fast. funny thing is the Mary that shows up on screen there, she can show up on either side. Not always the same. But again, another intense moment in Headspace is gonna leave Omori feeling trapped in white space, and we're gonna try, Sunny's gonna try and wake himself up. We get a quick little Basil scene here. Don't forget, it's in the toy box. Don't you worry, game. We will forget. So we're gonna wake up again. And you know what happens when we wake up? It's chore time! We're gonna do more chores instead of hanging out with our friends. Because I don't know about all you, but when I have free time to myself, I opt to do the dishes instead of hanging out with my friends. That's just the kind of person I am. And the kind of person that Sunny is. Talk to our to-do list. Now we're gonna wash dishes. The fun thing about dishes is you have a random chance to lose time. Just because while we're doing the dishes, they have an 11% chance to just Sunny will drop and break them. So hopefully he doesn't do that. Because it's just random time lost out of our control. So almost all of the real life segments have 0 RNG beside this one, which makes up for it tenfold. Because not only do we have dish breaking RNG, there's also an opportunity for a random bit of RNG that we'll talk about later. When we're about to end the day and go back to sleep. When Sunny is going back to bed, there's an opportunity for Ghost Mary to be in Sunny's bed. Now, it doesn't do anything except waste time, because the only way you could make it go away is by leaving the room. So, pretty good luck there. We didn't actually break any plates. So good for us. But now that we're done doing the dishes, I missed the door. Sunny himself would like to clean up. So we're gonna go take a bath. Sunny kind of starts to doze off and gets yanked under. The house has gone through some more remodeling. The same red window is still there, but now we're underwater. Not my personal design choice that I would make, but you know, not my house. Thank God. So now we just gotta follow Mary down the stairs. We'll follow her like we can never catch up. She let us catch up a little bit. Maybe we'll get her. All right, Mary, end of the line. There's no more stairs. We finally got her, everyone. Or did we? So it turns out it was just another lure for a something fight. This something is revolved around water. Funny thing about this something fight is that you can actually get an attack in before the fight even starts or is completely loaded. So after that bit of dialogue, we want to use the calm down. You could just start the fight with calm down, but using it after that point allows us to get the third skill that we need to make it through this fight. Or make it through this encounter with a something, because I don't think you could really even call it a fight. But Sonny gets the ability to persist, so he can calm down, he can focus, and he can persist. All kind of symbolic to a version of the story that we are never gonna see. But we're done with the something fight. We get this interesting cutscene that deals with lore and story that, again, you're not even gonna deal with. But in the context, Sonny had an incident in real life where he fell into water and was rescued by Mary. No bed ghost. That's just how many dishes we broke. Probably not just that. This is my personal favorite, like, white scene transition, sleep to white space transition. I don't know why, I just really like it. I like the music. For me, this really kind of just like hammered home what's going on when I was playing casually. Like, I finally just got it, everything. Not the entire story, but just the dynamic. But again, we've skipped over a ton of lore. Almost all of the story has been like kind of skipped at this point. But like I said earlier, this is the 4th time we come back to white space, we don't actually even have to do anything. It puts us through the door automatically. Oops. For some reason, I thought the snake was going to give me money, even though I knew it wasn't going to, and I opened the menu. But now we have the access to go to the top part of this forest, so we've already gone left and right. Our friends are conveniently missing, but thankfully Kel's already here. And he kind of explains that they all got jobs at this place called The Last Resort. So Kel will take us there. And it requires us to swim there, but dealing with that that something allows Sonny / OMORI to overcome their fear of drowning and lets us swim. Go down this really long ladder. The game likes long ladders. We go down into the well, and we go down this super long ladder deep into the well, and coincidentally enough, the area we're about to be in is called Deep Well. Some highbrow cosmic brain thinking here. So to get to the last resort, we got to take this taxi. That is driven by a gator guy. Pretty good driver, I guess. So here's the last resort. Where apparently everybody had gotten jobs while Omori was away. Oh, we haven't had our Mary cutscene yet. So we'll do that, because she's here. After we talk to Mary, she's happy to see us. We're gonna go find everybody in the last resort, but before we do that, we're gonna make a slight detour to this haunted pool. It's some of my favorite dialogue. This pool definitely looks haunted. Do you want to enter? But this takes us to an area called Ghost Party, and it has probably my favorite song in the game. That's not a boss theme. This is a song that just makes you want to bounce, like a little bouncy boy. Been overstepping everything. So we're gonna make a quick detour here. We're gonna buy. We shouldn't need any more poetry or presents. We still have 7. We're good. We're gonna make just a little detour at the Jash that's there. His name is Jash. And he sells a bunch of emotion-changing items. We're gonna buy some confetti that we'll need, and we bought an air horn that we'll also need. Confetti makes the entire party happy, whereas an air horn makes the entire party angry. But seeing as Kel didn't get all of the levels that he possibly could have, we're gonna need to make a slight detour while in here to grab a backup strat for the next boss. Oops. So you draw the aggro of the gator guys. They have some crazy amount of frames they chase you for. I think somebody looked up how long they'll stay aggro to you, and it's for like 200 or 200,000 frames or something. It's absolutely ridiculous. Well, we're trying to get up to the 5th floor where Aubrey is. Kel's gonna try and push the button for us, but then he's gonna remember that we can't actually go to the 5th floor without a cool key card. But first we're gonna we know where the cool key card is exactly, but first we're gonna make a detour because we need to grab an item here. We need to grab this punching bag to put it on Kel. And then we need a water bottle. Now we can go grab the cool key card. That's the wrong floor. That is also the wrong floor. Let's make sure we go to the right one this time. Oh boy. So here's our cool key card. Now we can go to the 5th floor. But the 5th floor is just a transition to another elevator being guarded by Burley. So Kel's doing some haggling, trying to figure out a way for Burley to let us through. So Burley agrees as long as we give her a bottle of water. Which we conveniently picked up in the basement along with the punching bag. So the reason we picked up that punching bag is that when it's equipped, it starts whoever's wearing it off in the fight. Whoever's wearing the punching bag in the fight will start the fight angry, which is an attack increase. And for the strat we made up for the boss that's upcoming, we need Kel to be able to do enough damage to make the strat work. So we're gonna get that punching bag so Kel could start the fight angry. Unfortunately, we lose out on about 50 speed for him for a fight that immediately follows. But it's not the end of the world. It's about 280 damage in the fight, give or take, I think. Without that 50 air, which is a good chunk of damage, but it's not gonna win or lose us the fight. That's also why we bought an air horn. Because we're gonna use it in the upcoming fight to make everybody angry, and it'll make Kel enraged, so it'll up his attack even more. But this little elevator scene's kind of long. So even though Kel's done whistling his tune, we're not done the elevator ride yet. It's really long. But here we go. We've arrived in Mr. Jossum's office. He's the person who runs the entire Last Resort. And he's also going to be the next boss battle that we have. We have a nifty little strat, so we can two-turn this fight. So we're gonna have Kel do this rebound skill, which hits everybody. Mr. Jossum can't be damaged until the gators around him are dead. So we're gonna have OMORI and Aubrey hit the two gators. And then Hero's gonna use an air horn, so our attack's all boosted for the next turn. So now the idea is... Kel will kill the two gators on the outside here. Ooh, he did a lot less damage. Okay, good. So that Jossum is exposed, so OMORI can do his hack away skill, do a lot of damage, hopefully. And Aubrey can perform a follow-up and end the fight. Should be enough. Split a second early. But right after that fight, we go immediately into another fight here with a significantly more jacked version of Pluto. Pluto's working as kind of like a bodyguard for Mr. Jossum, and he's gonna fight us. But we're back to doing coffee strats now. Coffee. Item, confetti, flex. Oh, blah, 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 what are we doing? Present. So we're kind of hoping that Kel doesn't get hit. Okay, he didn't do anything. Great. Because Kel most likely would die if he got hit by Pluto there. Run a gun, and we'll charm with Hero. So now we're gonna get our big run and gun damage. Perfect. We're just gonna do some extra damage with OMORI and Aubrey. And hopefully we can end the fight, but at least we're gonna get Kel's run and gun off again. Good crit. We should be pretty close. Nice. So that was pretty good. As long as Kel doesn't die in these fights with these bosses, they go well. So far, we've been doing okay. But I love the little after scene here. Pluto is like, I'm gonna show you my true flex. And then Jocelyn's like, all right, break it up. And then all of this like imaginary stuff that's happened just isn't actually even happening. So oddly enough, we're almost on PB pace, which is pretty silly. But now that we've beaten Mr. Jossum, Hero's back with us. Mr. Jossum actually just kind of agrees to let us go. He's not a bad guy, he just, you know, he's running a business. Can you blame him? But one good thing about getting Hero back is that he has a VIP card, which makes all of the elevators go faster. And we like that. We like the fast elevator. As you saw, the trip down was significantly less time than the elevator up. Before we exit, we have a little cutscene here where, and this cutscene is where the eeriness of the end of the game starts to creep into a little bit, because they're currently discussing that they're looking for Basil, but they can't remember what Basil looks like. So they're like, let's draw a picture to see if we can remember what he looks like. And you know, it's not great. So we're gonna look at the picture. Let's look how bad this picture is. Tag the opera real quick because we're gonna grab this item right here. It's a beach ball for Kel. Cat ears. I don't know why I ran all the way up there. You don't need to do that. Alright. Now we actually get to run through Deeper Well. No. We want Hero. Because Hero is going to help us out in this section. He's going to get us a discount on all of these tolls, which we actually don't really even need. But it speeds up this first toll a little bit to use Hero, because we don't really need any money to spend on anything. we don't need to save any money, so we're gonna switch to Omori because we gotta grab a computer key. A hangman key right away. And we don't care about the money. So that toll was $3,000. If you use Hero, he'll get a discount because the Gator guys recognize him, and it'll only be 1,000. So you can conserve really decent money there just by using Hero. Hero also gets a discount at the mailbox jashes for selling or for buying. But now that we've gone through Deep Well, we go into Deeper Well here. This is when this area is very symbolic, and this is kind of when, if you were to walk around and learn all the lore and everything about that, this is where you kind of figure out, like, this is where Sunny keeps, like, kind of like repressed thoughts and ideas. To an extent. Or you learn about that there is an area where Sunny keeps his, like, repressed thoughts. And kind of what happened to his psyche over the past 4 years since the traumatic incident. This is also when it starts to get super eerie, because now that they're here, they kind of just don't even remember what they're looking for. They kind of do, but they're like losing it even more. Unfortunately, we can't run here for some reason, which I find annoying. Oh, the wrong way. So we kind of move slowly throughout this area. Ignoring most things. Gonna get to this kind of final, not final area, but last area of this walk. Well, conveniently you can run again. I don't know why we have to walk through that one part, but you do, unfortunately. Run into this big thing's mouth, because that seems like a good idea. But inside there's a happy little whale. Well, hello there, friends. This is Humphrey. Seems pretty cool, right? I'm sure there's nothing wrong with Humphrey. Everything else seems to work out for us. But he tells us that Sweetheart came all the way down here and she's inside. Well, he doesn't know that Sweetheart's name is Sweetheart, but he insinuates that somebody annoying is inside. And then he also tells us about other people. So there's this whole thing going on inside of him, clearly, and Humphrey turns out to be a dungeon. But Humphrey also has the ability to appear in various places inside of himself, in these little, like, little pink Humphreys. Now we just kind of, you know, traverse Humphrey. There's 3 different paths. It doesn't really matter which one you take, but it makes the most sense to start with this one because you need Omori out to do some of the puzzles in this area. Then we get introduced to one of the other characters that exist in here. This is Molly, one of the slime girls. There's 3 slime girls, and we'll meet all 3 of them. But each path kind of has like an activity to do to complete it, so to say. And this one involves defusing a bomb, which involves us doing 3 puzzles. Now, normally you'd pick what puzzle you'd want. You'd have to go through these teleporters down here, but we don't have to do any of that. We know how to answer the puzzles. And fortunately for us, it doesn't work like the hedge maze where we had to find out that there was a password. As long as if we know it, we can just do it. You don't actually have to go through the areas to learn the answers. So this next puzzle, you just have to step on the right panels in order. Luckily, if you do them in the incorrect order, you just have to start over. All you have to do is hit them in the right sequence. It doesn't matter which ones you hit. If you hit the wrong ones, you just start over, which is nice, instead of having to like get off the pad and redo it and like reselect the puzzle. We got our final puzzle, which is even less involved than the other 2. Just a computer, and all we have to do is pick the right password. That's it. After we do the 3rd puzzle, we are allowed to leave. The portal activates. And we're done with the left side of Humphrey. At the end of all the little tunnel or directions and pathways of Humphrey, we get a little cutscene with the slime girl of that specific area. So we get to come here, and then we find out that the whole reason Sweetheart is here is that she's trying to have a clone made of herself. Since nobody's good enough for her, she wants to marry herself and have a clone made. So Molly makes Robo Heart for Sweetheart. But Sweetheart's not happy with it. See you later, Robo Heart. Oh, we want to get on the raft. Go to the next part. Go up to the top here. We need Aubrey out for this, but we're actually gonna make a slight detour and grab this life jam just in case. Oop. At an inch. So as you've already can tell, the whole gimmick of this side for the puzzles is that Aubrey can slap the Humphreys and it'll move them to make bridges and stuff in the other parts. There's also enemies to dodge in this section. We can kind of manipulate that one's movement by walking in that little path back there. Manipulate it again so it's not in our way. Nice. Good movement there. Actually, let's grab this item just for safety too. This is a group healing item. That mouse really wants to get me, but I'm not gonna let him. Woo. Got a little cutscene. Basil's flower crown's here, but they don't even know that it belongs to Basil at this point. They're just like, hey, this flower crown looks familiar. And Kel's like, well, I don't want it anymore. So he just boots it off the edge. And Aubrey gets mad at him. There wasn't really much we could do about that one, unfortunately. But luckily it was a first turn run. Those fights sometimes have a chance to fail runs. One encounter in this are not the worst in the world. Most of the rest, like the rest of the parts, went pretty well. There was good enemy placement, and we got some nice positioning for the dodges, so they didn't take too long. So this section, we notice there's a test tube with like a cat-looking creature in it. Probably not gonna do anything involving that at all. JK, it's gonna break free. So if we get caught by the cat, it makes you start over, but if you're only hitting the Humphrey things you need to hit, it's pretty hard to get caught. The most threatening part is right at the beginning there when it's so close to you. Luckily, a random hot dog falls and crushes the cat, so we don't have to worry about him anymore. It's all out of here. You can pick up that hot dog if you wanted to, if you needed more healing items. So we're in the top section with Marina, the slime girl, who makes mutant heart for Sweetheart, and she's just not having it. I have a feeling that Sweetheart's not going to be happy with anything. Now we got the right side of Humphreys, kind of like a chill little rafting segment. We do a bunch of stuff here, but where's he going? Okay, good. Those snot bubbles are so annoying. They could do a lot of things to just be in your way. When we talk to these Humphreys, they tell us that they can make a bridge. Switch to kill. See, like, that arrow went from the right to the middle, back to the right, and then all the way to the left through the middle. Like, the arrows make no sense. Mr. Snot Bubble, not in the way. That's kind of close. Now we're gonna see, we're gonna go up this way. Yeah, we made a good call. We need to go down in that path, but that snot bubble was blocking it, and we might have a chance to get better RNG with it on leaving. Maybe it won't be completely just blocking the path, because at least you can float through them, but you would have to basically get 2 encounters if it was blocking the path. Let's see, move. That's fine. All we want to do is make sure that we can actually move through this path. So we'll take the fight just to know that the positioning of that slime rabbit is not in our way coming back down the ladder. It's almost impossible to make it through this segment without getting into one fight with it. So making sure, oh my gosh. Making sure you take your chance, your advantages. To make sure that slime isn't in the way. This is gonna be a pain, isn't it? Got him. Please leave me alone. That one. This one was just in a bad spot at all times. That's alright, it is what it is. That room is probably one of the most annoying rooms just in the game, just with the encounters. There we go, we rolled the dice. That snot bubble didn't block us on the way out. This section's really long. Like it's longer than both of the other two parts for sure. Lots of rafting, slow movement. At least do the other ones you can run around. This one's just like, here we are, bebopping around. Excuse me? I don't agree. So you can get hit by the falling food here. It does do damage. It's not crazy because we're just gonna heal anyway before the next boss battle, but it does slow you down a bit, so it's annoying. Fun fact, there's a chubby sprout mole right there. If you come this way before using the top path and save that chubby sprout mole that's kind of falling into the Humphrey liquid, when you go through the cat chase scene, that chubby sprout mole will fall on the on that springy cat instead of a hot dog. So we start getting these Humphreys down here, but we can't talk to them yet until we talk to this one. And then we'll grab that one only for now because it's kind of in the context of grabbing all the other ones after we ride the flume one more time. That one is out of the way raft-wise. It's only like a single space away if we get it there, but it's like probably 4 or 5 out of the way if we were to grab it after. So not too hard. All we want to do is make sure we go down and get all the Humphreys in the flume path. If you take the outside ones, you can grab a letter that you don't need or another item that's useless on the right side. Now we're just going to collect the Humphreys to build the bridge. And that's it. We're done with this segment. Well, this Humphrey side. We're about to go fight the boss. This is the longest cutscene, though, of the 3. Where we meet Medusa, the 3rd slime girl. So just doing a quick stretch. Medusa makes a clone of Sweetheart called Perfect Heart. What's funny about all of these clones that are being made, if you're not familiar with the game, all 3 of these clones can be fought as additional bosses. With Perfect Heart being like a notoriously difficult boss. Also, like, if you're looking closely, and I don't know if they did it on purpose, but like the cracks in the test tube when she explodes out of it, the cracks like dead center make a heart shape. Which, with if you've played this game and seen like all the little details they do like all over the place, totally makes me feel like that was intentional. So now we're done. There's a commotion down below. We can give Humphrey that slime card we just got, which makes him, which then lets us go down to the bottom, where we get ready for a boss fight. We'll heal up real quick. And as you could probably imagine, our next boss fight is going to be with the slime girls. This is actually a super long cutscene, so the boss cutscene skips that we can do are kind of nice. Sweetheart tries to escape, but she doesn't get to. But now we get to fight the slime girls, and we're going to do our normal coffee strats and hope that Kel doesn't die. That's the win condition. Kel not dying is our win condition every single time. Have her use confetti, skill, flex, present. All right, who are they? Perfect. Oh, he lived too. Wow, how lucky for us. Hero being alive doesn't really matter after this turn. Run and gun, and then we'll have him charm. So Kel's gonna do a lot of damage here, which is almost half their health. So really what I should have done is we're gonna heal with OMORI. We should be okay. Should be enough to win. Nice, okay. So we got another boss fight here. Humphrey. Boss fight with Humphrey himself. This first phase is a little strange. Confetti, confetti, and snack, fries. So for the first phase, it ends after 5 turns. Whether or not you've done damage at all, it'll go to the second phase. So we're just kind of prepping for that. So we're just gonna guard with everybody. This is turn 2. Turn 3. And we'll heal at the end of turn 4. Hopefully he kind of spreads out the damage a little better and doesn't just wail on hero. Turn 4. Just make sure we have healing items. All right, so after this turn, he's gonna attack one more time. Hero will heal before the phase change, which is nice. Now we're gonna set up coffee strats. Now the damage we do matters. She can. What do we want her to do? Present. Flex. So we should have OMORI, whole chicken. We're gonna have her poetry book, her present again. Kel's run and gun should one-shot. Oh my god, it's short in damage. Shoot! Well, this is gonna be a little YOLO. Nice, Humphrey didn't attack, so that's good. So we'll use our release here for big damage, and then hopefully next turn Kel's gonna do some big damage and end the fight. Perfect. Nice, okay. So that didn't go exactly according to plan, but Kel underdamaged on Humphrey, the second phase of Humphrey, but we made it through. So all we have to do is hit the uvula here. They kind of make it look like the fight's gonna keep going, but it's just a single hit. So, in the context of the run, that's actually the last boss fight. So really all we have left is the wrap-up of the ending we're gonna get. And even though there's no fights involved, there's no more boss fights, there's still plenty of errors and time to be lost, and there's a lot of interesting cutscenes to watch. So even though there might not be any fights, like I said, it is at least a pretty entertaining segment to see kind of like the complete downward spiral of the game. Yeah, I know. So grab 2 letters here. After this one, we should only have 1 key left, which we'll be grabbing extremely shortly. 1 key left. Sounds good, game. Now we run out. The game wants you to go into the little portal that was left behind by Humphrey, but we found out that it's actually faster if you just leave out the other way and go back to the last resort. Because if you go down the portal that Humphrey leaves behind, you have to swim through this waterway with a bunch of dialogue and all this other fun stuff. And why would we want to do any of that? And we could just go back to the last resort and ride on Humphrey where we need to go. Alright, so we need to go to the vast forest to grab our last key. That's also where we need to be at the end of the game. So we run over to the right here. This is the side of the vast forest we were actually in earlier. And you can grab this key actually as soon as Omori gets over his fear of heights. But it doesn't really make sense for us to come back here until right now. Like, it's just as out of the way no matter what, but we conveniently can ride back to the vast forest with Humphrey and place us pretty close. So if you were to take that path that's, if you were to take the path that Humphrey leaves behind, you would end up into that, neighboring room of white space with the big cat watching everybody. So you end up pretty close anyway. So really all we did was take a different path to get to basically the same spot. But technically taking Humphrey puts you a little closer in the vast forest where you actually need to go. But now we see Basil's house. He's done some redecorating. Seems like he's going through an edgy phase. And after this cutscene is a little long, and then for some reason after this cutscene, there's just like a long pause. I don't know why. But now that we've gathered all the keys, we saw Basil's house did some funny stuff. We're gonna head to Basil's house. But not before we run into that bush like an idiot. We got really lucky there that sprout mole didn't get us. So now we see Shadow Basil kind of guiding us to where we need to go. Let me get, Jesus, I ran into every part of that tree. We take the familiar path, but this time we get the flower explanation. If you were to talk to these flowers the first time you ran through here with Basil, you would get the same dialogue, I think. Or if it's not the same, it's extremely similar. It's just Basil explaining why he thinks these flowers remind him of certain friends. Oops. The trip back down's a lot longer and a lot less tree-ier than before. Ugh. Should probably stop opening the menu randomly. You know, the theme of the game, if you see a big hole, you jump in it. We take the trek down deeper and deeper into the recesses of Sunny's mind. Gotta cut more spider webs. Now we see Mary. I think in this route, I don't think it's ever actually explained or explicitly pointed out that Mary is not alive in the real world. So if you did the bad route, you might get some context if you're really paying attention, but if you were doing the bad route like we do here, you wouldn't really even know, probably, unless you were really paying attention. But creepy Mary goes away and the door actually turns into a black door, which the white door lets us into white space, so the black door obviously is going to let us into black space, which is the answer to the hangman puzzle too, if you weren't paying attention. So spoilers in that regard as well. That is the answer. But don't let that sway you from getting all of the pieces. Basically, in this game, if you can do something extra, you should probably do it, because you're going to get more. You're just going to get more out of the game. Things don't exist for. There's basically things that don't exist for no reason, is what I want to say. Yo, Mighty Joe, thanks for the raid, bud. Appreciate it. We're just about wrapping up here. So the way black space works is we get a bunch of keys. We get a starter key from the middle there, and then we get a bunch of other keys, and we're just gonna keep going into doors until we go through enough doors to go through another door. We have to go through 8 doors. We're going through door number 2. And each door has its own unique little scene. If you're counting or able to count, you'll notice that there are actually way more doors than 8. But we only need to go through 8 to progress through to the end of the story. But I would suggest, if you were playing this casually, to experience some of those other doors for yourself. This is by far the eeriest part of the game. So if you're into the spooky parts, I would suggest searching through everything as much as you can. It's like an area like this, there's a whole bunch of houses. You can knock on doors. Some of them you can go in. There's a tons to experience. I didn't even realize I went to that one down there. I was going to the one on the left again. This one's like a... There's 2 side-scroller ones. This is the first one. Hello? Please go up. Thank you. Thank you. Sonny, I love you. Come and grab the something. Grab the key. This is probably my least favorite room. All you have to do is talk to this guy and get a key, and then Sonny, or Omori, is trapped, so he tries to get out. I believe this is door number 7. So after this one, we only have 1 door left. This is one of the longer rooms out of all of them. And now we just kind of walk right. You don't actually have to, you just have to be moving, I think, to progress. You don't have to walk all the way right, but eventually we'll walk off into nothingness. And it'll transfer us. Till we get our last key. We have one more door. I took one more step than I needed to. I was stuck in this one forever. So once the red door appears, that's the one you need to go in to progress the story. So if you're playing this casually and you see the red door, but you're not done exploring yet, don't go in the red door until you're done. Or at least make a save first. This is one of my favorite tracks in the game. Took a few extra steps because I was just listening to the music. I'm a big fan of like sad piano. Made it to the church here. We see our good buddy Basil. He's happy we rescued him. We got his crown and everything. What could possibly go wrong? Well, Shadow Basil's back. Although Shadow Basil is named the Stranger. Who enters this black mass? And then we could try running away, but eventually we're getting caught anyway, so we might as well just run straight into the something. And this is really like the whole descent of Sunny's psyche. He's gonna have a conversation with the stranger. And the stranger's basically gonna yell at us for not facing the truth or learning or growing or doing anything, just being a shut-in. This is such a good drawing. I just like this whole scene and aesthetic. So as is most of the fights with all the other somethings, we can't do anything. We're just gonna attack until the stranger feels like he should end it. Which is right now. Boop. This part's pretty wacky. Just gonna run. But as you can see, we're going through this scene. We're not Omori. This is Sunny going through this. And it's in his own mind, but we're not Omori. This is just straight up Sunny. Kind of just giving into his reclusiveness. Here we go. We got the hand throne with Omori sitting on top of it. The red hands making bridges. Clearly there's a lot going on with the hands. And we come back to kind of the something thing, and it's almost completely devoured the stranger. Now we're kind of like snapping out of it while still in headspace kind of thing. We're snapping out, we're back here again. We fell down the stairs. And Basil's been trying to pick us up. Now we start the long trek up to the end. There's no more dialogue. Bing, bing. I kind of like this part just because we get like a bunch of different songs to hear, even though they're only like snippets. But I also kind of like the backgrounds. So I run another game called Hylix 2, which is very wacky, a wacky game. These backgrounds kind of remind me of like some of the backgrounds in Hylix 2. Especially this one, I don't know. This one's the one I saw and I was like, this is Hylix. But we just keep walking. No more dialogue. We're basically done. We just gotta get there. So once you hear the circus-y lullaby music, you know you're getting close to the end. So we get to the top here. See, all of our friends are asleep. Like nothing was ever even wrong. So we're coming up on time. We're gonna go through like a little bit of a... It's gonna go like the next day sign. We're gonna get a scene of Omori waking up, or Sunny waking up, and as soon as Sunny touches the ground, that's when we're gonna call time. So really soon, as soon as he gets out of bed. And time. So there you have it. There's the glitchless Omori run. Fortunately enough, this is actually the new world record for the category. When I was 3 minutes behind at Sir Maximus 3, I didn't really anticipate coming back that hard, but we did. We brought it all the way back. So this is a world record. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the run.